Welcome back, my anime heads. The snake demon suddenly leaned over his shoulder, her golden eyes narrowing mischievously as the smell of roasted meat filled the cold forest air. With a teasing smile spreading across her lips, she softly asked, "Can you give me some?" The sudden appearance of a beautiful demon woman this close to him nearly made the MC freeze on the spot. Her face was inches away from his, her warm breath brushing against him while he still held the meat between his chopsticks. But instead of panicking, he answered with complete seriousness. "If you want to eat, go hunt the meat for yourself. I don't even have enough for myself." Not even a second later, the atmosphere changed. A strange pink glow began to spread from the demon woman's eyes. The forest itself seemed to grow heavier as her seductive aura quietly wrapped around him like invisible chains. Inside her mind, she confidently activated her charm technique. "The man who makes eye contact with me must submit to me. Come on, be my obedient dog." Her glowing eyes locked directly onto him. And then, nothing happened. The next instant, the demon woman's confident expression cracked apart completely. What's going on?" She stared at him in disbelief, while the MC casually continued eating his meat like absolutely nothing had happened. Even the piece hanging from his mouth kept swaying as he chewed. Then came the horrifying realization. Why doesn't it work on him? The demon woman's face immediately distorted into a bizarre half-pig transformation. Her nose puffed outward, her cheeks warped, and her expression became unbelievably ugly from pure confusion and panic. Meanwhile, the MC looked at her with dead, emotionless eyes. His only thought was, why does she have horns? Not fear. Not shock. Not lust. Just pure confusion. The snake demon quickly regained her composure and forced a gentle smile onto her face again, acting as if nothing embarrassing had happened moments earlier. "Brother, it's okay if you don't give me anything to eat, but I want to ask you something." The MC turned toward her while still chewing his food, meat literally hanging from his mouth in the least heroic way imaginable. "What?" The demon woman's golden eyes sharpened again, but this time her expression became much colder and more serious. "Have you seen a blood crystal twin flower around here?" The moment she mentioned it, her tone completely changed. "That's something I've been nurturing for decades. My pet was also killed by someone." The snake demon's golden eyes narrowed immediately as she leaned closer to him. "Do you know who did it?" The moment those words entered his ears, the MC nearly lost his soul on the spot. Inside his head, panic exploded instantly. "Wasn't that me who did it?" His entire body jerked in shock. Sweat rolled down his face as his expression completely broke apart. The poor guy looked like he had just been struck by lightning from pure guilt alone. Meanwhile, the demon girl kept staring directly at him. "Was it you?" Her voice stayed calm, but the pressure behind those words became terrifying. The MC immediately started waving his hands frantically. "Not me. It wasn't me, ha ha ha." That fake laugh sounded painfully forced. The snake demon tilted her head slightly. For a second, it genuinely looked like she was trying to process whether this idiot was lying or simply too stupid to function properly. And then, the MC suddenly pointed at himself, dramatically, like the greatest actor alive. "Oh right, that flower was dug up by a devious human named Liu Exing." This man switched sides, so fast it was unbelievable. "He also killed your cute little snake. I warned him not to. How could he just kill such a cute little snake?" The narration practically screamed betrayal. This shameless man was throwing his own identity away in real time, just to survive another 5 seconds. The snake demon slowly smiled. Her sharp green lips curled upward, as if she had already seen through everything. "All right, got it. I will go find him right away." Then she turned around and began walking away calmly, her long snake tail sliding across the ground, while the MC stood behind her frozen stiff, still sweating bullets. For one tiny moment, he actually believed he had escaped. Then suddenly, the atmosphere exploded. Do you take me for a fool? Her eyes glowed blood, red as demonic energy burst outward violently. The killing intent in the air instantly crushed the peaceful mood from seconds earlier. And before the MC could even react, boom! A massive attack slammed directly toward him with overwhelming force. The shockwave ripped through the air as the MC barely managed to raise his hands in panic, his face completely distorted in terror, while the demon's furious assault came crashing down on him. The snake demon's face twisted with fury as she roared at him. That scent was on you, otherwise, how do you think I found you? Her voice thundered through the forest like a beast finally done playing games. The MC's soul practically left his body. Still blocking desperately with both arms, he screamed back in pure panic. Since you already knew it was me, why did you force me to lie? Even while fighting for his life, this idiot somehow still found time to complain about fairness. The snake demon stared at him with complete disbelief. You're making it look like you're the reasonable one. For a second, even she looked mentally exhausted dealing with this shameless human. Then, the atmosphere changed again. Dark crimson energy began swirling violently around her body like living smoke. The ground trembled beneath her feet as demonic power leaked from every direction. Her long hair floated upward. Her eyes sharpened coldly. At this moment, she no longer looked like a seductive demon girl. She looked like an actual calamity. The red aura spiraled around her body in giant waves, covering the entire area with terrifying pressure, while the MC stood there sweating uncontrollably. And then suddenly, his body lifted off the ground. One of his legs was yanked violently upward by the demonic force wrapping around him. The MC dangled upside down helplessly in the air, while black-red energy coiled around his body like restraints. Meanwhile, the snake demon simply crossed her arms and looked up at him calmly. Completely unimpressed. Completely in control. The difference in power between them was so overwhelming that the fight had already ended before it even started. The MC's body spun helplessly in midair, dangling upside down like prey caught by a predator. HHH. The snake demon stared at him coldly, golden eyes narrowed with irritation. Tell me where my flower is, or else I'll strangle you to death. The red demonic aura tightened instantly. At that moment, something inside the MC snapped. His pupils shrank. A blood-red glow exploded from his eyes as a system notification flashed before him. Blood Butcher. An overwhelming killing intent erupted from his body. The atmosphere froze. Even the snake demon's expression changed immediately. Her eyes widened in genuine shock. For the first time since meeting this shameless human, she sensed danger. Before she could react, slam! An invisible force smashed her straight into the ground. The earth cracked beneath her body as dust exploded everywhere. The MC slowly lowered himself back onto the ground, one glowing red eye visible beneath the shadows covering his face. Completely different from before. The cowardly, screaming idiot from a few seconds ago had vanished. Nah. He felt like a monster. The snake demon grabbed her arm tightly while staring at him in disbelief. Even her instincts were screaming warnings at her. Meanwhile, the MC didn't waste another second. The moment he touched the ground, he bolted. I'll leave you the meat and the golden leg spider too. Think of it as payment for the flower. This man really activated a terrifying berserk mode. Just to run away faster. The snake demon shot after him instantly, wrapped in spiraling crimson energy, while the forest blurred around them from sheer speed. The MC's face turned pale from panic. That woman is not someone to mess with. If I can't escape, I'll have to use that move. The forest exploded into chaos. The snake demon shot through the air like a crimson meteor, blood aura twisting violently around her body as she closed the distance in an instant. Meanwhile, the MC sprinted with everything he had, feet tearing across the ground fast enough to leave blue shockwaves behind him. But then, boom! A gigantic claw suddenly slammed against a tree beside him. Two glowing red eyes slowly emerged from the darkness. A monstrous ape stepped out from the forest, muscles bulging like steel while violent wind currents spiraled around its body. Windfire ape. The beast let out a deafening roar that shook the entire forest. The MC's eyes widened. Of all the possible moments, why now? The ape immediately swung its massive arm toward him. But before the strike could land, a green streak shot across the battlefield. The MC twisted through the air and barely escaped the blow, while the ape's fist smashed the ground hard enough to crack the earth apart. Where did this big ape come from? The snake demon arrived a second later, floating above them with an irritated expression. Now the battlefield had become complete chaos. A berserk human, a furious snake demon, and a giant monster ape caught in the middle. The ape roared again, crimson eyes locking onto the snake demon instead. Bad choice. Scram, you damn animal. Her blood-red aura erupted outward instantly. The windfire ape pounded its chest and charged straight at her without fear, fists crackling with compressed wind energy. Then, the entire forest shook as both monsters collided head-on. The windfire ape went completely berserk. Its gigantic body slammed into the ground like a meteor, shockwaves ripping through the forest while crimson and blue energy exploded everywhere. But the snake demon moved faster. Whoosh! She vanished into a streak of red light and appeared directly above the ape's shoulder. Slash! Her claw carved across its neck instantly. The ape howled in pain, stumbling sideways while blood sprayed into the air. Yet instead of retreating, the monster became even more violent. Its fur suddenly ignited with blue spiritual flames as wind currents spiraled around its massive fists. The forest trees bent under the pressure alone. The snake demon's golden eyes narrowed slightly. This beast was stronger than she expected. Then, a cold killing intent suddenly appeared behind her. Her pupils shrank. The MC stood there silently with the dagger in both hands, dark purple energy rising around his body like smoke from the abyss itself. The atmosphere changed instantly. Even the windfire ape froze for half a second. Wait, that move is. For the first time since appearing, the snake demon looked genuinely shocked. The MC slowly raised the dagger above his head. Purple aura spiraled upward. His glowing eye stared at her without emotion. Then he spoke only 2 words. Starfall. And the entire forest trembled. The snake demon's expression completely changed. Cold sweat rolled down her face as she stared at the dagger trembling in the MC's hands. Wait, that move. Her golden pupils shook violently. Impossible. That technique was supposed to have disappeared ages ago. No one alive should still know it. Unless. He can't actually be bluffing me, can he? For the first time since the battle began, fear crept into her voice. Meanwhile, the MC stood frozen in place with the dagger raised high above his head, purple energy swirling around him like a dark storm. Truthfully, he had absolutely no idea what he was doing. He only copied the stance because it looked cool. But the snake demon didn't know that. I can't risk it. If he really can use that technique, I'm dead. Her instinct screamed danger. So instead of attacking, she prepared to run. At that exact moment, wrestle, several figures suddenly emerged from deeper within the forest. An old muscular warrior carrying a gigantic hammer. A graceful woman in white robes. And a scarred swordsman with a cold expression. Uncle Kyan. The moment the snake demon sensed their presence, her face darkened instantly. The MC slowly glanced sideways too. Both of them realized the same thing at once. Reinforcements had arrived. The woman in white narrowed her eyes toward the battlefield. Looks like there's a situation ahead. The snake demon clenched her teeth in frustration. I didn't expect you to have backup. Her eyes locked onto the MC with pure killing intent. Did you deliberately use yourself as bait to lure me out? The MC. Bro was just standing there confused. I'll remember you. Boom. Red demonic energy exploded around her body as she shot into the sky like a flaming comet. I'll find another chance to kill you later. And in the blink of an eye, she fled. The MC slowly lowered the dagger. Did she seriously run away? The purple aura around him faded instantly. And with it, so did the terrifying pressure that had frozen the battlefield moments earlier. The three newcomers stared at him in disbelief, especially the giant hammer warrior. His jaw practically hit the floor. That windfire ape escaped from our pursuit earlier. He pointed at the destroyed corpse nearby with trembling fingers. And this kid killed it. The giant ape's massive body lay twisted on the ground, still leaking demonic blood. Meanwhile, Yi Chuan immediately raised both hands in surrender. Nope, not my business. Awkward smile. Cold sweat. I was just passing by. The group. Bro looked exactly like a criminal trying to avoid responsibility. The elegant woman in white stepped forward quietly. Unlike the others, her eyes remained calm. Careful. Observant. She had clearly noticed something strange. What's your name? The moment she asked that, Yi Chuan's brain went into full panic mode. It looks like they're trying to scam me. No matter how I explain this situation, nobody's going to believe me. From their perspective, a random teenager, standing alone, holding a bloody dagger, next to a dead demon beast that even they struggled to catch. Yeah, this looked unbelievably bad. My name is Yi Chuan. He nervously pointed at himself. Listen, this matter is actually... Before he could finish, the woman suddenly grabbed his hands excitedly. Her eyes sparkled. Yi Chuan, I officially invite you to join the Nine Heavens Alliance. Yi Chuan. Huh. Meanwhile, the scarred swordsman standing behind him slowly revealed a suspicious grin. That smile instantly sent chills down Yi Chuan's spine. Something told him his peaceful life was about to disappear forever. Yi Chuan froze. Nine Heavens Alliance. The name alone carried enormous weight. In King Cheng, 3 giant powers stood above everyone else. The Xia family, the Leshy Alliance, and the Nine Heavens Alliance. Each one ruled entire territories like kings. And now, one of them was personally inviting HIM to join. Even Yi Chuan was stunned. The old hammer warrior crossed his arms and laughed loudly. I didn't expect a 7th grade Dengtang realm windfire ape to get killed in one strike by a kid like you. You're definitely talented. Yi Chuan glanced at the corpse silently. Internally, though, he was already calculating everything. That demoness escaped too easily. She can probably kill 7th grade Dengtang experts instantly. If she comes after me later, I'm dead. Having a strong faction backing me up might not be a bad idea. For the first time since arriving in this world, Yi Chuan seriously considered joining a major power. Seeing him hesitate, the woman quickly continued. How about it? We're preparing to conquer the Flame Blade King. And we urgently need strong fighters. The moment those words came out, Yi Chuan blinked. Who's the Flame Blade King? Silence. The entire group stared at him. Even the elegant woman looked shocked. As a combat-type profession, you seriously don't know who the Flame Blade King is? A dark silhouette slowly appeared in the narration of the world itself. The atmosphere instantly became heavy. In this world, job changers were divided into massive cultivation stages. Apprentice Realm, Dengtang Realm, Master Realm, Grandmaster Realm, and each major realm contained 9 smaller grades. But above all of them was the King Realm, a transcendent existence, a being powerful enough to dominate entire regions alone. And the Flame Blade King was one of those monsters. Yi Chuan scratched his head awkwardly. So, what's the benefit of defeating him? The scarred swordsman immediately smirked. Kid, you really are ignorant. But that's interesting. Once you defeat a king-level expert, you inherit both their title and their realm. The moment those words landed, Yi Chuan's eyes widened slightly. Now that actually sounded useful. The scarred swordsman smirked coldly. Don't get ahead of yourself. Inheriting a king realm title isn't something some random weakling can accomplish. But instead of backing down, Yi Chuan's eyes suddenly lit up, reaching the sky in a single step. Of course I want to try. The atmosphere froze for half a second. Then, Yi Chuan raised both hands dramatically, like he was making the greatest declaration of his life. I promise to join the 9 Heavens Alliance. The girl's entire face brightened instantly. Great. Our team just gained another member. We're one step closer to success. Her cheeks even flushed slightly from excitement. Meanwhile, the scarred swordsman looked at Yi Chuan like he'd just adopted a clueless puppy. Just so naive. Ignoring him, the giant hammer warrior suddenly crouched beside the Windfire ape's corpse and pulled out a blade. SHNK. The sound of flesh splitting echoed through the forest. Yi Chuan blinked. Are you skinning it? That's right. The elegant woman nodded calmly. To approach the Flame Blade King, we need fire-resistant armor crafted from the skin of this Windfire ape. Otherwise, just stepping into the burning Sky Valley would melt you alive from the heat alone. The giant ape that once looked terrifying was now being peeled apart like hunting loot. And hearing the words, melt you alive, Yi Chuan finally realized something terrifying. The Flame Blade King wasn't just strong. He was a walking, natural disaster. The elegant woman sighed softly. Originally, we already captured the Windfire ape and planned to skin it. But it bit through the iron chains and escaped. Before she could finish, Yi Chuan casually raised a hand. Skinning. I'm the best at that. The woman blinked. You know how to skin beasts. Yi Chuan's expression turned strangely serious. I'm a professional. The entire group froze. Even the scarred swordsman looked skeptical. But the next second, whoosh! Yi Chuan suddenly leapt onto the ape's massive corpse. His hand flashed toward the small butcher knife hanging at his waist. Shing! In an instant, silver arcs exploded through the air like dancing lightning. Slash! 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 His body twisted with absurd precision, cutting through the beast's fur at terrifying speed. The others could only stare blankly as blade trails crossed over the giant corpse like a storm of light. Then, 1 minute later, the Windfire ape's fur dropped perfectly onto the ground like a complete carpet. And beneath it, the ape's body had been stripped so clean it looked like an anatomy model. Every muscle exposed, every cut flawless, not a single piece of skin damaged. The entire team went silent, because what Yi Chuan just displayed wasn't ordinary skinning. It was art. The giant warrior's jaw practically hit the floor. This is so professional. Even the scarred swordsman, who had doubted Yi Chuan from the beginning, was drenched in cold sweat. That flawless skinning technique. It was terrifyingly precise. Miss Jiang covered her mouth, her beautiful eyes sparkling with surprise. As expected, a real talent. The massive Windfire ape hide was carefully packed away as the muscular elder spoke excitedly. Miss Jiang, now that we've obtained the skin, once it's forged into fire-resistant armor, we'll definitely obtain the Flame Blade King's inheritance before everyone else. The atmosphere instantly brightened. For the first time, the team finally saw hope. But then, step, step, step. Footsteps echoed from the forest. Everyone's expressions froze. 3 figures slowly emerged from the shadows beneath the moonlight. At the front stood a sharp-faced man with a scar running across his eye, the emblem of a roaring lion stitched onto his chest. The moment the giant warrior saw him, his pupils shrank violently. It's the Leshy Alliance. What are they doing here? A sinister grin spread across the scarred man's face as dark pressure filled the air behind him. Miss Jiang. He looked directly at the Windfire ape skin, then smiled. Could you hand over the Windfire ape hide to us? The scarred leader slowly drew both blades, their cold steel gleaming under the moonlight. Miss Jiang is indeed clever. His smile widened into something vicious. I assume you also understand what happens if you refuse to hand it over. Dark killing intent exploded through the forest. But Miss Jiang didn't panic. Instead, her eyes narrowed sharply. So you knew about our operation from the very beginning. You were waiting here to ambush us after we exhausted ourselves fighting the Windfire ape. The giant warrior instantly raised his hammer with a furious roar. Try anything funny, and my hammer will crush your skulls. The atmosphere became unbearably tense. One wrong move, and blood would spill instantly. Then suddenly, the one-eyed swordsman beside Miss Jiang stepped forward calmly. To be safe, hand me the Windfire ape skin. I'll head back and call reinforcements. Before anyone could react, whoosh, the massive bag flew through the air. Catch it. But the next second, everyone froze. Because instead of the swordsman catching it, Yi Chuan somehow landed right on top of the giant sack like a cat, claiming its favorite sleeping spot. The one-eyed man nearly coughed blood. What are you doing? Give it to me already. Yi Chuan hugged the Windfire ape skin tighter with a completely serious face. I skinned this thing myself. Obviously, I should protect it personally. Silence. Absolute silence. The one-eyed swordsman's eye twitched violently. You. Meanwhile, Miss Jiang stared at Yi Chuan in total disbelief. This guy. Was he fearless? Or just completely insane? Then the swordsman finally snapped and shouted. Jia Wan. The scarred man let out a cold laugh. Ha! So the Nine Heavens Alliance isn't as united as it claims. His eyes swept over the group mockingly. At a moment like this, all you people care about is the Windfire ape's skin. Miss Jiang's expression instantly darkened. A terrifying aura erupted from her body as she pointed directly at Jia Wan. Jia Wan, you dare betray the Nine Heavens Alliance. The one-eyed swordsman almost jumped out of his skin. What, me? He pointed frantically at Yi Chuan, who was still sitting on the giant sack with the same blank expression. Miss Jiang, why suspect me instead of the newcomer? That guy doesn't even look trustworthy. Yi Chuan blinked slowly, then tilted his head. Huh. But before the chaos could settle, the giant hammer warrior exploded with rage. Traitor! Boom! His enormous hammer smashed downward like a falling mountain. The terrifying shockwave blasted Jia Wan backward across the ground. HMPH. I've tolerated your sneaky behavior long enough. The giant warrior's eyes burned red with fury. People who betray their allies deserve punishment from heaven itself. The Thunder Lion Alliance already promised me a huge reward. But this brat ruined everything. Jia Wan slammed into the dirt, coughing violently before scrambling back up. His face twisted in panic. Lord Lei, we almost had the skin. If we hesitate now, we'll have to do this the hard way. Then, the giant hammer rose into the sky once more. Jia Wan. You know exactly how I deal with traitors. The giant warrior descended from the sky like a raging beast, hammer raised high enough to split the earth itself. RAHHH. But Jia Wan's eyes suddenly flashed with confidence. HMPH, you brainless brute. With my speed, none of you can catch me. Swish. His body blurred backward, only for a blade of purple energy to explode across his path. The scarred man had moved. Fast. Far too fast. A vicious grin spread across his face as sparks danced around his twin blades. Quick. Kill that brat and bring me his skin. The hammer warrior froze mid-charge. His pupils shrank violently. You already broke through to the second stage of the master realm. A terrifying pressure erupted outward. Purple energy twisted behind the scarred man like a demonic storm as he slowly spread both arms. To deal with the Nine Heavens Alliance. We came prepared. His grin widened. And now, no one leaves alive. Boom. He vanished. Only a streak of violet light remained. The next instant, slash. His figure appeared directly above the hammer warrior. A blade crashed down with monstrous force, splitting through the air itself. The old warrior barely managed to raise his hammer in time. HRGH. The impact sent shockwaves roaring through the forest as sparks and purple energy exploded everywhere. The scarred swordsman twisted through the air like a phantom, his blades carving spirals of purple energy across the battlefield. Boom. The hammer warrior smashed into the ground, cracks exploding beneath him as debris blasted into the air. But before anyone could react, swish, the masked assassin suddenly vanished, then appeared directly above the boy carrying the sack. The terrified kid looked up just in time to see a sword descending toward his skull. Shing. A massive slash tore through the ground beside him instead. The assassin froze. His eyes widened slightly. Someone had blocked him. In the distance, Miss Jiang stood glowing with radiant energy, her sleeves dancing wildly in the storm of power. Without hesitation, the assassin lunged again. His body became a black streak, tearing across the forest floor. Stop her. Don't let her escape. The remaining men immediately raised their hands. Lightning and flames burst into existence simultaneously. A blazing fireball and a crackling sphere of thunder shot forward like twin meteors. But Miss Jiang calmly lifted her arm. Boom! The attacks collided against a brilliant wave of spiritual energy, exploding into a blinding shockwave that lit up the entire forest. For a moment, the battlefield disappeared inside pure white light. Miss Jiang's expression instantly changed. Damn it! Yi Chuan is only a first-grade Dengtang rookie. There's no way he can defeat Jia Wan, a fifth-grade Dengtang expert. Meanwhile, Jia Wan twisted through the air like a demon unleashed. Ha ha ha, Miss Jiang, you chose a useless helper. Now pay for your stupidity. His blade came crashing down toward Yi Chuan's head. Yi Chuan, watch out. But the boy never moved. The entire forest suddenly turned crimson. A monstrous blood-red shadow exploded behind Yi Chuan like an ancient beast awakening from hell itself. Two glowing eyes opened in the darkness. Everyone froze. Even Jia Wan's body stiffened midair. Cold sweat rolled down his face. Then the impossible happened. Black smoke wrapped around Jia Wan's body like living chains. And in the blink of an eye, thud, he was nailed against a massive wooden pillar. Pig ears. A pig nose. The terrifying assassin had literally transformed into a squealing pig-faced creature. His eyes trembled with absolute horror. At that same moment, a glowing blue system screen appeared before Yi Chuan. System alert. Blood Shadow Butcher has been activated. Blood Shadow Butcher has reached LV3. The air around Yi Chuan grew colder. Darker. More dangerous. A gigantic black axe materialized in his hand. No emotion. No hesitation. Only killing intent. Jia Wan's pupils shrank violently. Swoosh. Yi Chuan suddenly vanished from sight. The next instant, a crescent slash ripped across the battlefield as Yi Chuan swung the massive axe with terrifying force. Jia Wan barely raised his sword in time. But before he could recover, Netherworld Shad. Dark green phantom energy erupted beneath Yi Chuan's feet as his speed exploded again, turning him into a blur tearing straight toward the terrified assassin. Jia Wan's face twisted in rage as he sprinted through the forest at full speed. You brat, you think you can race me? You're still too inexperienced. Can you even catch me? His figure blurred between the trees. But suddenly, clang. His sword stopped dead in midair. Jia Wan's eyes widened. Behind him, Yi Chuan was calmly holding the giant sack like a shield, blocking the blade at the perfect angle. This thing must not be broken. Before Jia Wan could react, bam! Yi Chuan's kick slammed directly into his ribs, sending the assassin staggering backward. You little bastard, how dare you fight dirty? Jia Wan roared furiously, veins bulging across his face. But Yi Chuan only smiled. A cold, terrifying, almost insane smile. I got you. That single sentence sent chills down Jia Wan's spine. Even Miss Jiang stared at Yi Chuan in shock. This kid, he's extraordinary. A first-grade Dengtang defeating opponents far above his level. Her eyes narrowed. Unless his profession is a god-level combat profession. Boom. Behind her, elemental explosions collided violently as the battle against the remaining assassins intensified. Lightning and flames ripped through the forest while shockwaves shattered the ground. Yi Chuan, come help me quickly. Miss Jiang called out desperately. Yi Chuan slowly lifted his head. His emotionless eyes locked onto the battlefield. And at that exact moment, a hidden assassin suddenly descended from above like a venomous snake, his blade aimed straight at Jia Wan's throat. The battlefield had just become even deadlier. Purple lightning exploded across the battlefield. Zzzt. The old man's body convulsed violently as electric currents wrapped around him like chains, forcing out a blood-curdling scream. H. But Yi Chuan's eyes never changed. Cold. Calm. Calculating. Capture the leader first to capture the bandits. His gaze slowly lifted toward the battlefield ahead. Right now, we need to take down the leader of the Thunder Lion Alliance. Boom. A massive pillar slammed into the ground as terrifying purple lightning spread outward in every direction. Crackle, crackle. At the center of the storm stood a muscular elder, electricity crawling over every inch of his body like venomous serpents. His mere aura made the surrounding air tremble. The difference of one rank in the Master Realms. A tall man in black stepped forward grimly. Is 1,000 miles apart. The Thunder Lion Alliance leader slowly raised his lightning-covered blade. You are simply no match for me. Purple electricity surged wildly around the sword as a sinister grin spread across his face. Under my Thunder Electric Net domain, your bodies will slowly go numb until you cannot move. The pressure instantly suffocated everyone nearby. Even experienced fighters began losing feeling in their limbs. Then, the elder raised his blade high into the air. Go to hell and reunite with your teammates. His killing intent exploded. But just as he was about to strike, a quiet voice suddenly sounded behind him. Hey. The Alliance leader's pupils shrank to pinpoints. Cold sweat poured down his face. Someone had appeared behind him without anyone noticing. A pale hand slowly grabbed his shoulder. Yi Chuan's expression remained completely emotionless. We're not dead yet. The Thunder Lion leader froze. For the first time since the battle began, fear appeared in his eyes. Then, a blue system window flashed open in the darkness. Blood Shadow Butcher. Yi Chuan's pupils instantly glowed crimson. Not just glowing, burning. A horrifying blood-red aura exploded outward like a demon awakening from the abyss. Escari. The shadow behind him twisted violently before transforming into a monstrous boar-faced demon with jagged fangs and glowing red eyes. Lightning crackled against the creature's body as it let out an inhuman scream that shook the forest itself. The Alliance leader's face instantly paled. What is this monster? The next second, boom, Yi Chuan vanished. Only a streak of black and red remained. Slash. His blade collided against the Thunder leader's sword so violently that sparks erupted into the night sky. The impact forced the man backwards several meters. His eyes widened in disbelief. This kid is only in the Dengteng realm. But his skill can actually affect me. Cold sweat dripped down his face. He must have a god-level skill. For the first time, the Thunder Lion leader truly felt danger. His instincts screamed at him. This person must not be allowed to live. Run quickly. The old master roared desperately toward Yi Chuan. You are simply no match for him. The difference in realm is too great. But Yi Chuan didn't move. Didn't blink. Didn't retreat. The crimson glow in his eyes only deepened. Like a predator finally finding prey worth hunting. HMPH, you can't escape anymore. The Thunder Alliance expert exploded forward like a raging beast. Boom. A brutal kick tore through the air with enough force to split stone apart. Before anyone could react, thud. The attack landed squarely on Yi Chuan's body. His entire figure shot backward like a broken arrow, crashing violently across the ground. Dust exploded everywhere. The enemy slowly lowered his leg, sneering coldly. You dare fight me? This kick alone is enough to take your life. The forest fell silent. Yi Chuan lay motionless on the ground. For a moment, it looked like everything was over. But then, the old master tightened his grip around the giant hammer. His battered body trembled violently. This kid, he's using his life to fight for even the tiniest chance for me. Blood dripped from the corner of his mouth. Yet his eyes suddenly sharpened. A desperate resolve ignited inside him. I must seize it. Boom. The old man erupted upward into the sky, spiritual energy, exploding around him like a storm. He raised the massive hammer above his head with both hands. The air itself began trembling. Mountain-breaking hammer. The gigantic weapon descended from the heavens like a falling meteor. Even the Thunder Alliance leader's expression changed slightly as he looked up. Because this strike contained every last ounce of the old master's remaining life force. Crack. Red lightning exploded across the battlefield as the giant hammer descended from the sky like divine punishment itself. The pressure alone shattered the earth beneath them. The Thunder Alliance leader raised his blade instantly. Boom. The massive hammer collided against the saber with enough force to make the entire forest tremble. Shockwaves ripped through the air. Even the surrounding trees bent violently from the impact. The old master roared as veins bulged across his arms. Every ounce of spiritual energy inside his body was being burned away. But the Thunder Alliance leader didn't move an inch. He stood there calmly beneath the gigantic hammer, one hand gripping his saber while red lightning wrapped around his body like demonic chains. Then, he slowly looked down at the old man beneath him. Cold. Expressionless. You know Miss Jiang's background, right? The old master's pupils shook violently. You can kill me, but if you dare lay a hand on her, the Nine Heavens Alliance will never let you go. For the first time, the Thunder Alliance leader laughed. A disgusting, mocking laugh. HMPH, the Nine Heavens Alliance. That joke dares compare itself to our Thunder Lion Alliance. His eyes glowed blood-red in the darkness. Don't worry. We won't kill Miss Jiang. Our brothers over there still want to have some fun with her. The moment those words landed, the old master froze. Then rage exploded from his body like wildfire. No. If you've got the guts, come ATM me. I'm begging you. His roar shook the forest. At the same instant, a blinding blue slash suddenly cut through the battlefield at terrifying speed. Whoosh. The Thunder Alliance leader's eyes widened. He sensed it too late. Something was coming straight for his neck. The blue blade flashed once, and the entire battlefield went silent. Shing. A massive crescent slash tore across Lei Gang's chest, exploding into a storm of blue spiritual energy. Blood sprayed through the air. Lei Gang's eyes nearly popped out of their sockets as he staggered backward in disbelief. How? Before he could even react, the young man slowly straightened his body from the cratered ground. Cold wind swept through the forest. Blue energy spiraled around him like drifting stars. Falling star. The sword in his hand hummed softly. Meanwhile, the old master's jaw dropped open. This brat didn't die. What kind of move was that just now? Lei Gang stared down at the massive wound carved across his chest. His clothes were shredded apart. Beneath them, golden scales hidden under his robes cracked apart piece by piece. Cold sweat instantly poured down his face. The golden scales' soft armor. It cracked. If that treasure hadn't protected me, I really would have died from that strike. At that moment, the young man touched his chest quietly. Faint golden scales flickered beneath his torn shirt as well. Sweat rolled down his cheek. You thought I was dead, so you stopped paying attention to me. A small grin appeared on his face. That's when my counterattack began. The old master froze. Then his eyes slowly widened with shock. Although the boy looked reckless, his battle instincts were terrifyingly sharp. Only by pretending to die could he force Lei Gang to lower his guard long enough for that strike to land. The old master inhaled sharply. This kid, his combat sense is completely different from people in his realm. But Lei Gang suddenly stepped backward. Fear had finally appeared in his eyes. There's a master here today. It's not suitable to stay any longer. Blood dripped from his mouth as he glared at the young man with hatred. Then, a twisted smile slowly appeared on his face. Kid, I'll remember you. Lei Gang's body shot through the forest like a streak of red lightning. Crackle. Red electricity exploded around him as he fled without even daring to look back. See you later. The old master stared blankly at the disappearing figure. He's running away. But before anyone could relax, the young man suddenly staggered. His face went pale as the black blade slipped loosely in his hand. Kid. The old master lunged forward instantly and caught him before he collapsed face first onto the ground. The boy weakly raised the blade like he still wanted to fight. Meanwhile, soft footsteps echoed through the forest. Miss Jiang finally arrived. Her long purple hair swayed gently as she looked at the destroyed battlefield in shock. Are you two okay? Behind her, several defeated enemies were already unconscious beneath the trees. The old master immediately burst into laughter. Miss Jiang, I truly admire your judgment this time. He grabbed the young man excitedly, nearly shaking the poor guy apart. It was this kid who saved me at the critical moment. He severely injured Lei Gang. Even that monster was forced to flee. Then the old man's eyes turned red with emotion. Brother, I owe you my life. When we return to King Cheng, whether it's foot massages, wine, or the best fish and meat, I'll personally arrange everything for you. The young man's dead-looking eyes instantly widened in horror. He looked like he wanted to escape more than Lei Gang did. But before the old man could continue rambling, Miss Jiang lightly smacked him on the shoulder. Uncle Kaiyan, please stop corrupting Yi Chuan. The old master coughed awkwardly. Meanwhile, Miss Jiang slowly turned toward the exhausted young man. Her beautiful eyes narrowed slightly. Confusion flashed across her face. An enemy even Uncle Kaiyan couldn't handle. How could a first-level Dengtang realm cultivator defeat him? The forest suddenly became quiet. Wind drifted through the trees. And at that moment, Yi Chuan's fingers twitched slightly. His body was finally reaching its limit. The atmosphere froze. 3 figures silently appeared behind the kneeling traitor. No footsteps. No aura. Just 3 towering silhouettes wrapped in darkness. Their glowing crimson, eyes burning like demons from the abyss. The kneeling man's pupils shrank instantly. Cold sweat poured down his face. His entire body trembled uncontrollably. Be Brother Kaiyan's. Spare me. I know I was wrong. My wife is pregnant. My mother is still alive. I only did this because I needed money. His voice cracked as he desperately crawled backward across the ground. But Uncle Kaiyan slowly stepped forward with a terrifying smile. A smile so gentle, it made everyone even more afraid. Rest assured, for the sake of our past friendship, I'll definitely take care of your wife. And I promise, I'll wash your child's hair every single night. The traitor's face instantly turned pale. His soul nearly left his body. No. No, please. BOOM. The massive blade descended like divine punishment. Blood exploded across the forest floor. The earth cracked violently beneath the impact. And just like that, the screaming stopped. Silence returned to the woods. Only the dripping sound of blood echoed softly in the darkness. Uncle Kaiyan tightened his grip on the gigantic hammer and scanned the silent forest cautiously. The Thunder Lion Alliance won't let this go so easily. We're all injured now. If they ambush us on the way back to the city, things could get dangerous. But Miss Jiang remained surprisingly calm. A faint blush colored her face as she gently brushed her hair aside. Don't worry. I already sent out a rescue signal. The Nine Heavens Alliance should arrive soon. Then, she opened a small box. Inside were 2 glowing recovery pills, radiating rich spiritual energy. This is a high-level recovery pill. I only brought 2. 1 for each of you. The moment Yi Chuan swallowed it, warm energy instantly surged through his body. Steam rose from his skin as his injuries rapidly healed. Even Uncle Kaiyan's wounds visibly closed at an astonishing speed. Yi Chuan stared at the tiny golden pill in disbelief. This thing costs 50,000 each. The Nine Heavens Alliance is seriously rich. But suddenly, a thought flashed through his mind. His eyes widened. He slowly turned toward Miss Jiang. Miss Jiang, can you use that sonic attack on me? Miss Jiang blinked in confusion. You want to use my sonic attack to train your agility skill? Yi Chuan's expression immediately became serious. Phantom Shadow was obtained from a scroll. The only way to improve it is through constant practice. And right now, it's my only movement skill. If I meet a real expert whose speed surpasses mine, I'll suffer a huge loss. I need to upgrade this skill as quickly as possible. The forest became quiet again. Even Uncle Kyan looked at the boy differently now. Because this wasn't the mindset of a reckless rookie anymore. This was the thinking of someone preparing to survive in a world where one mistake meant death. Miss Jiang smiled softly, but there was caution hidden behind it. Yi Chuan, you helped us a lot today. But my realm is far above yours. If you're not careful, you could get seriously hurt. Yet Yi Chuan didn't hesitate. He silently stepped forward. The air around him immediately became tense. Miss Jiang narrowed her eyes slightly. Are you ready? Yi Chuan lifted his head. His dark pupils became frighteningly calm. At the side, Uncle Kyan watched carefully while sweat rolled down his face. This kid, he's really planning to test himself against her sonic technique. The power he displayed earlier. It might genuinely be a god-level ability. Then, Miss Jiang moved. Her long hair and white robes fluttered as spiritual energy erupted around her like waves. The ancient Gyukin floated before her. Her fingers gently brushed the strings. Zizizanji. A crescent-shaped sonic blade instantly tore through the air. The forest itself seemed to split apart from the pressure. But Yi Chuan didn't move. Not yet. The attack raced toward his neck at terrifying speed. And at the final instant, his pupils glowed crimson. Phantom shadow. SHHH. His body twisted like a mirage. The sonic blade sliced past his shoulder by mere centimeters, carving a deep trench into the earth behind him. Even Uncle Kyan's eyes widened. Because Yi Chuan hadn't blocked it. He hadn't resisted it. He dodged it. Barely. But before anyone could speak, Yi Chuan shouted again. More. I'm still okay, more. At that moment, Miss Jiang finally understood. This monster was using life and death pressure to forcibly evolve his movement technique in real time. The battlefield completely descended into chaos. SHHH. One sonic blade became 3. 3 became 10. Then dozens. Yi Chuan's body twisted violently through the storm of attacks like a phantom, dancing on the edge of death itself. Every dodge was impossibly close. A single mistake, and he would be sliced apart instantly. Miss Jiang's eyes began glowing brighter and brighter as her fingers swept across the Gyukin strings at terrifying speed. The surrounding forest exploded under the pressure of her sonic waves. Even she was beginning to lose composure. These sonic attacks are my specialty. If I can't suppress a mere second-tier Dengtang cultivator, then what kind of joke am I? Boom. Her aura erupted again. This time, countless sonic crescents descended together like a heavenly execution. The sky itself seemed covered by white blades. Far away, Uncle Kyan's face stiffened. Oh no. Miss Jiang is getting serious. If she accidentally kills Yi Chuan, that'll become a huge problem. But at the center of the storm, Yi Chuan slowly lifted his head. His eyes burned crimson. An eerie red aura spread from his body like blood-colored smoke. And suddenly, his movements changed. Earlier, he had been barely surviving. Now, he was adapting. One afterimage split into 2. 2 became 4. Then 8. Then more. 1, 2, 3. Yi Chuan calmly counted while weaving through the sonic blades. 7, 8, 9. Miss Jiang and Uncle Kyan stared in absolute disbelief. Because every clone-like afterimage was moving differently. The phantom shadow technique was evolving in real combat. Then, 1314. A crimson phantom suddenly tore straight through the sonic storm itself. At that moment, even Miss Jiang felt a chill run down her spine. This wasn't normal cultivation talent anymore. This was the growth speed of a monster. 17, 18, 19. Yi Chuan's voice remained terrifyingly calm inside the hurricane of sonic blades. SHHH. Another crescent wave toward his neck. But this time, he moved before the attack even arrived. His body twisted sideways like flowing smoke. Boom! The sonic blade barely missed him as his foot slammed into the ground hard enough to crack the earth beneath him. Then, his hand shot toward his waist. A dagger flashed into his palm. Miss Jiang's pupils instantly shrank. He drew a weapon. For the first time since the training began, Yi Chuan stopped retreating. He lunged forward, like a black phantom tearing through a white storm. Every step exploded with speed. Every dodge became smoother, cleaner, sharper. The surrounding sonic currents no longer looked random in his eyes. He could see the rhythm now. He could feel the pattern. That's right. This is the feeling. A crazed grin spread across Yi Chuan's face. The phantom shadow technique was no longer just a movement skill. It was becoming instinct. At that exact moment, ding! A translucent blue panel suddenly appeared before his eyes. System prompt. Phantom Shadow upgraded to LV2. After activation, increases user's agility attribute by 40% for 1 minute. The moment the notification appeared, boom! A crimson aura exploded from Yi Chuan's body. His speed surged again. And this time, even the sonic blades started missing him completely. Uncle Kyan's jaw nearly dropped to the floor. He upgraded during combat. What kind of absurd comprehension speed is this? Meanwhile, Miss Jiang's expression turned serious, because she suddenly realized something horrifying. Yi Chuan wasn't training anymore. He was evolving. Again. Miss Jiang's voice exploded through the forest. The strings of sonic force around her fingers trembled violently as another attack was about to launch. But before she could move further, a large hand suddenly rose between them. Enough, Miss Jiang. Uncle Kyan forced a bitter smile onto his face, sweat dripping down his forehead. It's just training. Don't be so serious, our people have already arrived. Miss Jiang froze. The glowing light in her eyes slowly faded as she turned toward the forest. 2 hooded cultivators stood quietly beneath the trees. Sorry we're late. The tense atmosphere instantly loosened. Miss Jiang exhaled softly before nodding. It's okay. The Thunder Lion Alliance shouldn't dare cause trouble again anytime soon. Then she glanced back at Yi Chuan. Let's go back. Behind her, the giant berserker carrying the massive hammer scratched his head awkwardly while walking over, completely unaware of how close the training session had come to becoming an execution. Meanwhile, Yi Chuan quietly stood there catching his breath. His shirt was torn. His legs were trembling. But his eyes, they were brighter than ever. Miss Jiang suddenly stopped walking. She turned slightly toward him. Yi Chuan, are you coming back to the city with us? Yi Chuan scratched the back of his head awkwardly. You go ahead. I still have some things to do. He still needed to test his newly upgraded Phantom Shadow. And more importantly, he wanted to hunt. Miss Jiang stared at him silently for a moment. Then a faint smile appeared on her face. All right. Then be careful. When you return, I'll be waiting for you at the Nine Heavens Alliance. She gently pressed a hand against her chest before adding, by then, I'll have a special gift prepared for you, Tilda. Yi Chuan blinked. A gift? But before he could ask anything else, Miss Jiang had already turned around and left with the others. The giant hammer warrior waved casually as the group disappeared deeper into the misty forest. Yi Chuan stood alone beneath the swaying trees, watching their silhouettes vanish into the distance. Then, The innocent look on his face slowly disappeared. A dangerous grin crept upward. Now then, time to see what Phantom Shadow Level 2 can really do. The forest became a blur. Trees stretched into long black lines as Yi Chuan shot through the wilderness like a shadow unleashed from its chains. Phantom Shadow Level 2 was absurd. The wind screamed past his ears, while blue afterimages spiraled around his body. I hope those treasures are still there. Boom! He leapt across the final ridge and landed heavily in a hidden clearing. The giant golden spider corpse was still there. More specifically, its razor-sharp golden legs. Yi Chuan's eyes immediately lit up. Great! He rushed over excitedly and slammed both hands onto the shining remains. The metallic legs gave off a faint golden glow even after death. Just touching them made Yi Chuan realize how insanely durable they were. The golden scale armor on my body is already shattered. Maybe these golden spider legs can be traded for some better armor. The more he thought about it, the wider his grin became. This trip had been absolutely worth it. With a satisfied expression, Yi Chuan wrapped the massive spider parts inside a giant cloth sack before throwing it over his shoulder. Despite the ridiculous weight, his upgraded agility allowed him to carry it far more easily than before. Soon, the outline of the city finally appeared beneath the evening sky. After days of fighting, surviving, and nearly dying countless times, he was finally home. Yi Chuan casually pushed open the courtyard gate with a huge smile on his face. "Mom, Dad, I'm back." Silence. His smile froze. Something felt wrong. The air inside the courtyard was unnaturally cold. Cracks covered the ground. Furniture had been smashed apart. And right in the center of the courtyard, a broken teacup slowly rolled across the floor. Clink. Clink. The massive sack on Yi Chuan's shoulder suddenly slipped from his grasp and crashed heavily onto the ground. His pupils shrank. That cheerful expression vanished instantly. What happened here? Yi Chuan's breathing became heavier. Cold sweat rolled down his face as he stumbled deeper into the destroyed courtyard. "Dad, Moms, where are you?" No answer. Only silence. A terrifying silence. Then, crack. His foot stepped onto shattered glass. Yi Chuan slowly lowered his gaze. It was a broken family photograph. The frame had been smashed apart, but the picture inside was still barely visible. His father smiling proudly. His mother laughing gently. And himself standing awkwardly between them. For a moment, everything went still. Then the memories hit him all at once. Liu Exing. That bastard. Only one person would dare attack his family. Only one person carried enough hatred to do something this vicious. A dark red aura suddenly erupted around Yi Chuan like burning smoke. Krrrr. The ground beneath his feet began cracking apart. It must have been Liu Exing that did it. His pupils glowed crimson. The killing intent pouring from his body became so dense that even the surrounding air trembled violently. Where did he take my parents? Boom. A violent shockwave exploded outward from Yi Chuan's body, sending fragments of broken furniture flying across the room. The cheerful boy from moments ago was gone. What remained was pure rage. The kind of rage that turns people into monsters. And somewhere far away, Liu Exing still had no idea what kind of nightmare he had just awakened. Thanks for tuning in my anime heads. Our season continues with our next chapters coming soon.